Like, how do you change the way you look at weight loss and if you are overweight, how you lose weight and keep it off? So how does someone start to develop a new identity in that category? Like, what have you seen?
Well, first of all, I would say that identity is actually at the top of the pyramid. That's the last thing that changes. It's a necessity, but it's one of the last things that change. Usually, what happens is people will start to make changes. And if they're successful with the changes that they've made, and this is why it's so important to work with somebody, because if you're not successful, it doesn't mean you're a failure. It just means that you need to try a different approach. But once they start making changes, you start to feel better and you start to develop a confidence and a trust in yourself. And then once you start to build that trust and that confidence in yourself, that's when your identity shifts. When you do that day in and day out, and you have the confidence, you have the knowledge, and you know that you're going to show up for yourself. And truly, I think that's one of the biggest things because we live in a world right now that is so inundated with marketing messages that we're not enough and that you need to be doing X, Y, and Z. And so the answer is always outside of us. And if we're always thinking, well, this is where the answer lies and it's not in my actions, like people say to me all the time, thank you so much for, you did this for me. And I didn't do anything. I just gave some tools, guided the way, was a buffer, an ear, maybe a motivator when things got tough. But at the end of the day, the person has to take the actions. I'm not spoon feeding somebody. And if I'm not with somebody, they're still making choices, right? So it starts with the knowledge or having a plan and then executing that plan, starting to build momentum, starting to build confidence in yourself, build trust in yourself. And then over time, you shift your identity. But you have to have that desire to want to shift your identity. And you have to have enough pain attached to that old version of you that you don't want to go back. And so that's why I think that when people do sustainable weight loss and it takes time to lose the weight, they're less likely to gain it back because they have that association with how much work and effort it actually took to get them to a place of feeling good about themselves again.